Hi Hinsters, and welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome too. My name is Hinny, I'm a spiritual astrologer, and it's hump day as I film. I hope you are well. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, and welcome back to the Streams of Creme Brulee playlist, which is my series on the transits of Venus through the zodiacal signs. And this transit of Venus in Libra spans roughly the period from August 30th to September 23rd, ending quite nicely around the same time that the Sun enters Libra and Libra season officially begins. So yes, we have, as I mentioned in my stream the other day, my last stream, on the new moon in Virgo, we have Venus leading the way in a sense here and promising grace. And right now in Virgo season, we can be feeling smoother and calmer and like things are getting put in order, ducks in a row, the perfect day. And it's a bit like a lovely walk down the street when you feel that lovely breeze that just caresses you and is that promise of a more subtle autumnal season. And I mean that in the spiritual senses and also in the literal Northern Hemisphere seasonal senses. Virgo season then is also like sweeping up, sweeping, hoovering, cleaning. And actually, where I'm from, it's considered bad luck to walk by someone who's sweeping, to get swept on. And it's a bit like watching our step so we don't tread or step in dirty puddles. And with Venus in Libra now, then we have Virgo heavy and mercurial people especially. There's this kind of warning, especially because right now we're just coming off this new moon in Virgo as well. It's delicious, zesty new moon in Virgo, which I've very much been feeling recently. But anyway, there's this warning from the Mercurials and the Virgoans to not get hyper and destructive and to not take things as a given. This can be especially for Virgo risings or for those who have this new moon very close to their natal Virgo sun, because you're already in a birthday season, so it can be very easy to get in this hyper destructive kind of vibe, and also to not take good things as a given. And especially once Libra season really kicks in and Cancer, by the way, Mars is about to enter Cancer, I should say, very soon. There can be, with all of this, nasty surprises that are a result of like someone putting an X next to our name, or people getting blacklisted in like amidst this type of energy and dynamic. There can be very much this kind of sense of, no, we're not going to deal with him anymore, or we're not going to invite or include her anymore, or we're not going to entertain them anymore, and misbehaving. This, by the way, is again Venus in Libra leading the way here. A lot of misperceptions sometimes of Venus and Libra being all about love and gentleness and softness, but this is a cardinal masculine air sign we're talking about. And there can be very much this kind of cold, firm, queen type of energy with this sort of transit. But misbehaving, yes, brings consequences. And later, the misbehavior becomes deemed inappropriate by an individual or a group or even a space. And they are no longer given like as much grace or favor as before. So again, it's like taking things for granted and then feeling the result of that later. And Venus is also in her domicile in the sign of Libra and much more able to have her say, her way, when it comes to a theme or many themes in your Libra house. So look at your birth chart. Let me know where you have Libra in your birth chart, and we can talk more about that because that's going to give you an indication as to what's going on with this transit for you. Now, let's take note also of the fact that Venus in Libra transit, this transit kicks off or is toned by Venus's triangle trine to Pluto in Aquarius. Yes, Aquarius. And one thing that I'm really feeling for this transit is the energy of ultimatums, and whether literally speaking or in a more kind of deterministic or spiritual or ancestral sense, there's this sense of some people will be dealing with a kind of ultimatum energy, and some people will also be, or they already are, sworn in to something or ushered in, and there's new positions or contracts or partnerships, and there is an air of ease as Venus leaves her fallen Virgo and enters her domicile, where she feels much more at home. However, we are talking about sides of Venus now that are actually also very initiating and serious and frank. So this is friendly but firm vibes leading the way here. This is like being granted a higher position at a company with blessings and perks abounding, but there is also the weight of responsibility. And in a dragon year, no less, there may be no time also, or much space where even small mistakes can be afforded, as Virgo energy is ever on the increase and our kind of choices and decisions are more scrutinized. And impartiality, another thing that's going to be coming through now, impartiality is also going to be this magical and very useful thing for many people. And this is like the level-headed Libran or justice sword coming down for the chop when necessary. And Libran energy is one of the four big boss energies. And this transit should not be taken lightly or for granted. And Venus, the ruler of Libra, and the ruler also of the vibe and the flow and the routine, brings now, again, making this trine to Pluto, this ample potential for things to be audited and assessed. And did you know, by the way, that Venus rules the market overseer, as well as weights and measurements and balancing, making also a sextile right now to Mercury in Leo, another masculine sign, Leo. And Mercury is also very much dealing with dealing and currencies and things that transfer hands. So very interesting stuff going on here, and a lot more of masculine energy kind of being injected into this shadow season of Virgo. But yes, there's this kind of sense also of like the balancing of the books. And it would not be a surprise, I would say, because I think this is going to be like more of a kind of take no prisoners Libra season later. But it's not a surprise that companies and groups or families or whatever will be coming now to a more like confident conclusion based on this auditing or this assessment of the value of something or someone. And yes, it can result in firings or divorces or exclusions for some. And people also may be being recorded more now, and or like what they say or what they said is being brought to court, so to speak. And it can be like a time of unpopular and also popular canceling of this or that. And judgment is, of course, very key here. Very classic Libran keyword here is judgment, although it is almost certainly, I think, a result of what is deserved and what was inevitably coming. And even if not, there's this kind of receiving harsh judgment that can be a marker of a key growing period for some people, which is later looked back on as epic or brave or whatever. So what I'm trying to say with that is, for some people, even though there might be like a harsh judgment experience now, later it will like make sense. I would also say to watch out for getting too wrapped up in a connection or too eager to help. I was saying 2 days ago, I think, with my new moon in Virgo video, that it's better to stay quiet about being happy. And also here with Venus in Libra, it's wiser to adopt a polite passivity, a prudent practice of our capabilities. And there is this phrase or this belief that comes to mind, which goes something like, just because we have the capacity to help doesn't mean we should, or doesn't mean we should always, doesn't mean you should always like or that you should ever even burn out all of your resources and your capacity to help just because you can. And Venus later enters Scorpio when she's done in Libra, and we can feel some of that classic ick or ouch as Venus does enter her detriment in Scorpio. And it's a case of having attracted ugly people or ugly behaviors. And Venus is one of the polar in attracting gods, goddesses. And especially, for example, if you're a Libra rising, this here transit can be like extra effective at attracting both people and things that you do and you do not want. And I'll also say that this here Venus in Libra transit during Virgo season is excellent for writing down or ratifying like our thoughts and our ideas. And it's a perfect time for many people to consolidate things and to get a move on in some sense, like pushing the pen, like pushing the paper, pushing the envelope, whatever they say, and like submitting the manuscript as well. Some people will be like finishing that big report finally. And yes, finally, with this powerful trine to Pluto, this is an easy capability to kind of mine rich ideas and also to share or actively inspire these ideas in other people. And more broadly, this trine to Pluto signals the potential for many people to tap in to something that's like a hidden talent or a power. And it is also for some a super opportunity to finally be in their own element and to like recognize the value and the beauty of their quirks or the value of themselves, even in isolation or ostracism. So I do think like some people will be getting like struck down for whatever reason, but there's a kind of unapologetic edge or energy for some that continues anyway, that is unrelenting. Alrighty, for Libra rising then, this transit is a big one for you because Venus is your life path ruler, and she can bring a softening of some first house themes, such as your body, your health, your personality getting more like amicable, and something like that. And it can also make you more attractive to potential partners. Scorpio rising, Venus is in your 12th house, and that's what I call her secret joy. This can be a good time for you to party or to get high in some sense. It's also a signifier of intense sensuality and sexuality, and especially in secret relationships or contexts, or experiencing like elation from the privacy of your intimacies. Sagittarius rising, I love this for you, this transit. For those who've been like going through a tougher time than normal recently, Venus has finally left your 10th house, and some of the pressure is now off for you. And there's less steamrolling and more kind of enjoying time spent with friends. And Venus can also bring many kind of many more of those dreams being fulfilled, or wishes being fulfilled, or just that feeling of good luck, even more of that than usual for the typical Sag rising. For Capricorn rising, then, Venus is encouraging many of you to consider more seriously some kind of 10th house theme, such as career, calling, jobs, again, needing to really get a move on. Libra can help a lot of us with this getting a move on with things. And for some, it happens to mean that during this transit, you do find a nice job. And this is, however, square energy. So, as is often the case between Libra and Capricorn, the challenge here can be approaching something 10th house less in a materialistic or practical or financial way, let's say, and more in a kind of social or mental or dynamic kind of, or more interactive kind of way. Okay, Aquarius rising. Venus is trining Pluto, right? So this is Pluto in your first house, and Pluto's going to be there for a heck of a long time, Aquarius. Now, for those Aquarius risings dealing with toxicity, Venus can easily bring you something softer, some more peace. And some Aquarius risings will be taking on that kind of richness of their authenticity and their quirkiness as a kind of optimism or faith, or like a kind of fuel for their right way. There's more of that positive, lovely kind of feeling of conviction. And again, it can be unapologetic and dynamic for a lot of you guys. Pisces rising, then. I like this for you as Venus enters your 8th house, and you may be receiving something, perhaps like an inheritance for some people, a loan, a money gift. Some Virgo suns and Libra suns who are also Pisces rising this year will be getting more financial gifts than usual, or some kind of big booty or kind of big investment. And Venus in your 8th house can also ease your fears about the future. And with the full moon in Pisces, by the way, that's coming up later in Virgo season, I can see some Pisces risings also kind of getting more than usual, more emotional and sacred when it comes to visiting and tending to the memorial sites of passed on loved ones, for example, or getting more in touch with ancestors, or feeling some kind of ancestral release or rush. Okay, Aries rising then. So this is a 7th house transit for you. And if you have partners, then they can be feeling themselves more at this time. They might be having a glow up of some sort, and they could be more affectionate or loving towards you. And it's also a good omen for doing business with people, Aries. So be sure to inject that Libran sophistication, class, that beautiful stuff into any kind of upcoming business meal or meeting or pitches. Libra, after all, is the zodiacal convener. Libra is the one for convening a social event, a conference, a meeting. Don't ask any other sign. Anyway, Taurus rising. Venus is also a god to keep extra eyes on for you. Because she is your life path ruler, just like for Libra rising. And she's in your 6th house in Libra, bringing lots of potential here for you to hire the right people or to get someone to do the job properly. And it's a nice kind of omen for you, Taurus, for doing things like beautifying your CV or correcting how you're perceived, or just adding more nice accolades and things to your CV, to your LinkedIn. Maybe you're adding some certificates that you're receiving or you're about to receive, and you're kind of just, totting up your achievements. And also for some Taurus risings, this is stuff like suffering and illness that can be alleviated. Again, Venus, she's this goddess of softening, so can bring more ease and more balance or softening for people or for something in your 6th house. And just generally things can get easier for the Taurus rising during this time. Gemini rising then, this is beautiful trine energy here from Libra to your ascendant. So yes, you may be feeling more beautiful generally and like dressing up more adulty perhaps, or maybe you're feeling more composed when it comes to your style or your character. And Venus is in her joy in your 5th house. So this can mean brilliant things for your kids if you have them. Kids can also be pets, plants, anything that you create and give birth to and really produce like it's your own child. All that kind of stuff can be really brilliant for you. Now, And it can also mean a lush month of self-pleasure for some Gemini risings. And it can be a perfect time for some of you to hop on the dating apps or to get back into the dating scene and to really find someone to love. Cancer rising. This is happening in your fourth house, which I believe I touched on in my last video, I think, saying that this is the house of where the gods go to die, so to speak. And it's something being mysteriously worked on by Venus in this case. And it can have something to do with your house, your home, your family, or the past, or feelings of foundation, also realization. Something is about to bubble up or erupt in a month's time for you, and you don't know right now what that is. And it can also spell the later fortification of a sense of integrity and fairness in your life as well. This is a Libran transit after all, so maybe after a month's time you get more of a Libran kind of vibe, which can be very nice for you, or something that you're not really in touch with very often, Cancer, because not only is Libra an energy that squares you naturally, but for Cancer rising, it's the deepest, most hidden energy of the chart. And if you in your birth chart you don't have any Libra placements either natally, Libra can really be one of those energies that you're very rarely in touch with, or it's a form of cardinality or boss energy that you don't access very often. And after this Venus and Libra transit, you can feel a bit more like a Libra somehow. Leo rising then. So we love this because this is Venus. She's the ruler of sextiles and she's making a sexy sextile to your ascendant. And I can see a lot of Leos entering this kind of player mode with the people around them. And it can also mean lovely things for some other third house theme, such as your friends, your siblings, your neighbors. And one very beautiful thing here for Leo is that Venus will bring you more divinely in touch with all that is around you. And Mercury still is in its joy in your first house right now as I film. And I'm pretty sure that you're busy in some kind of bad bish energy right now, and I love it. It's great. Okay, moving on. Virgo rising, last but never least. This is lovely second house stuff for you. So this is better investments, Virgo. This is taking your money more seriously. This can even spell incoming bonuses and grants. And the second house also contains such themes as food and diet. So it can mean better eating for you, and it can also mean like decadent eating, because Venus is the decadent, or one of the decadent gods. I mean, all the gods have their levels and layers of decadence, but Venus can very much be about that pleasure through things that make you feel happy and joyful, and that can be food that makes you feel happy and joyful. And for some, I'd pay attention also to olives and olive oil, Virgo, because these are things, did you know, that Venus rules? She rules olives or like oily foods. And anyway, generally, Venus in your second house, Virgo, can bring the acquisition and the attraction of more personal possessions. So that's what I have for you, loves, for all of the rising signs. I hope you have a great Libra, Venus in Libra transit, and I look forward to hearing from you again. See you in the next video, maybe tomorrow, when I talk about Mars in Cancer. Take care, have a nice day or night, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.